Moving on to Russia, it's reeling from another terror attack. The incident happened in Dagestan. It is a Muslim-majority republic with a history of unrest. The gunmen opened fire at places of worship, killing civilians and police officers, and even setting buildings on fire. 19 people were killed. 25 others remain injured. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. But this is Russia's second terror attack in 3 months. So what explains this uptick in violence? Our next report tells you.
It was the day of Pentecost, a religious holiday in Russia. So people in Dagestan headed to churches. But little did they know, it would take a deadly turn. Gunmen opened fire on places of worship. Churches and synagogues were attacked. Police posts too were targeted. The attacks happened in 2 cities, Derbent and Makhachkala. At least 19 people have been killed, including 15 police officers. 6 gunmen were also neutralized.
Today has become a day of tragedy for Dagestan. And not only for Dagestan, but for our entire country. Unprecedented in their cruelty, terrorist attacks were committed today against religious sites in the capital of Dagestan, Makhachkala, and our ancient city of Derbent.
In Derbent, buildings were set on fire. This included a church and a synagogue. Attackers threw Molotov cocktails at the building. Among those killed were a priest who had served the city for over 40 years. Derbent is home to an ancient Jewish community, which makes this attack unprecedented. No group has claimed responsibility for the attacks yet, but Russia has called it an act of terror. Law enforcement agencies say it was the act of an international terror organization. Meanwhile, Dagestan's governor called it an attempt to destabilize his region. He suggested the attacks may have had foreign help. But the Kremlin is yet to comment on the attackers.
President Vladimir Putin expresses deepest condolences to all of those who lost their relatives both in Crimea in a missile attack and to relatives and close ones of those who died in Dagestan.
Which brings us to Dagestan. It lies in Russia's Caucasus region. Dagestan is a majority Muslim republic, but it is home to over 30 ethnic groups. Historically, the Caucasus became part of the Russian Empire in the 19th century. But it has long harbored resentment against Moscow. It is also one of the poorest parts of Russia. In the 2000s, Russia fought an Islamist insurgency in the region. Since 2007, the region has dealt with attacks from the Caucasus Emirate. It later became Islamic Emirate of the Caucasus. It staged attacks in Dagestan, even in some of the neighboring regions. Till 2017, the entire region was restive. Since then, attacks here have been rare, but the recent attack has brought it back into focus.
We understand who is behind the organization of these terrorist attacks. We understand what the organizers were trying to achieve.
Dagestan is on edge again, and it's because of its multiple ethnic groups. Dagestan is the most ethnically diverse region in Russia. And some of the ethnic minorities have been hit harder by the war in Ukraine. In 2022, protests broke out in Dagestan. This was against Putin's mobilization orders. Then there's the other war in Gaza. Tensions ran high in Dagestan after October 7th. In late 2023, anti-Semitic rioters stormed Eid Dagestan airport. This was after reports that a plane was arriving from Israel. Which brings us to this latest attack. This is the second terror attack in Russia in the last 3 months. In March, over 130 people were killed when terrorists attacked a concert hall in Moscow. ISIS-K claimed responsibility for that massacre. The attack was a blow to Putin. It happened just a week after he took office for the 5th time as Russia's president. Putin promised unity after the tragedy, but this latest attack shows that Russia has not successfully navigated internal tensions, and these have become a breeding ground for international terror groups.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can we expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
We start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. For the first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to First Pulse America. I'm Eric Ham.